and welcome back to Gav Goes In. Guys, big up for coming on each and every time. Big up for coming through yesterday as well. For the reaction to my recent boxing fight. And obviously earlier on as well yesterday, discussing the Bruno Fernandes interview as well. So yeah, big up to yourselves for coming through each and every time. And as always, make sure you are smashing the like button. Make sure you are subbing to the channel. And yeah, make sure you share the channel as well. And so yeah, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it anyway. So Rayan Cherki, I think, obviously, I'm not sure if anyone saw the game yesterday between City and Brentford. I caught the first half, and I caught the second half as well. I think about 60 minutes. 60 minutes into second half, I watched that. Big up to Fitz, big up my guy each and every time, and big up to Football Reactions FC as well. So yeah, listen, Rayan Cherki, I think, massive fan of Cherki. When Cherki was coming through at Lyon, you could definitely see that this was a star in the making. And how much did City sign Cherki for? I want to say between 30 and 40 million. Yeah, and when you actually think of some of the transfer fees going around now, I mean, prime example, someone like an Anthony Elanga, let's say for argument's sake, yeah. Anthony Elanga went for what? He went for what, 50 or 60 million to Newcastle, can't get a regular start. And you think City paid what, between 30 and 40 million for a potential world beater, you know what I mean? And again, if anyone's watched Cherki for any amount of time, not just in the Premier League, you could see that this guy had, again, 34 million, big up Fitz, 34 million, yeah? And to think that Man City got Cherki for 34 million, a player that is destined to be, I would say, for me, Cherki is going to be amongst the likes of Yamal, Michael Elise, again, in terms of younger players, I think Yamal is a standout one. If I'm talking about players where Cherki plays, I'm looking at Yamal. I'm looking at, as I said, Elise. People might want to throw Desiree Doué in there. But Cherki, for me, 100% has to be in there, And I think in terms of Cherki's ability, man, I think I'll go as far and say there ain't a player for me, ability-wise, right now in the world that betters Cherki from a standpoint of being technical. I think he's up there with the likes of Yamal, no doubt. And again, Yamal for me is going to be the best player in the world. But I think his nearest challenger could be Cherki. Leonard Cole, big up to my goat man. Yeah, Leonard Cole's a good one as well. I think with Leonard Cole, I want to see a full season from him. But there's no doubt Leonard Cole at 17, he's another one that could be. He's another one, man, that's definitely going to be up there. But I think I'd want to see a full season from Leonard Cole, man, before I can start saying he's going to be in the conversation of Yamal and Cherki. Because I think Yamal, we know what Yamal is. As I said, key player for club and country when he was 16. And then you've got, Esteval. Esteval's a good shout, but I think Esteval, for me, yeah, Esteval could be in that. But again, I want to see more games from Esteval. I know he was doing madness in Brazil, but I think the likes of Cherki's been doing it in a tough French league. He's an international now as well. Look at what he's doing. If you look at what he's doing for Man City now as well. As I said, Yamal's done it for over a season and internationally as well. And Elise, we've seen the Premier League, and we've seen, obviously, Elise, what he's doing in for Bayern Munich right now. So, yeah, I think definitely, man, I'm looking at those players as players that are going to be amongst the very best in the world, man. No doubt. So yeah, man, I think Cherki for me, yeah, I think definitely. I think when you're looking at players in the Premier League, players that have that individual ability, if we go through all the teams, you look at Chelsea. Chelsea have the likes of a Cole Palmer. You know, City have got Cherki. You can throw Foden in there as well. Man United have Ahmad, Xerxes, Cunha, that are just individual talents. Arsenal have Eze for me. Tottenham, to a degree, have Kudus and Xavi Simons, But again, there ain't too many. And I think, Everton have got Grealish and Iliman NDI as well, and I think they're the standout ones. I mean, there could be a few more, but I think they're the standout ones in terms of individual quality. And I think Cherki, for me, right now, I would have to say he's the best of the lot right now in terms of the ability, what he can do off both feet. His goal yesterday against Brentford, the way he just shifted onto his right foot, with ease, and then obviously into the top corner, man. But he's got that, There was a clip going around. I'm not sure if anyone's seen the clip, but there's a clip, Cherki in training. I'm not sure, I think it might have been for Leon, it might have been. And his striking ability off both feet in terms of half volleys, free kicks, the timing of his shooting is just ridiculous, man. It's madness. It's absolute madness. And as I said, man, this is a player for me that is destined to be the best player in the world. As I said, right now, I think Lamine Yamal's closest competitor, if I'm honest, is probably a Cherki. Cherki's what, 22, Yamal's 18. Obviously, got Leonard Carl at 17. Elise, I think, might be about 22 as well. Desiree Doué, I think, is 20. I'm gonna throw Ahmad in there because I think Ahmad's that ability, even though we're not seeing it on a regular basis because of this dumb system that Man United play. I think Ahmad's what, 23. So I think in terms of the individual players around that kind of age, it's looking Esteval. He's what's Esteval, 18 as well. So yeah, these players coming through. These players are looking to be the next big thing. But as I said, I think Yamal and Cherki right now are the top two. I like Elise as well. I think Elise is a top player, and he could easily be amongst that as well. But I'm gonna say Yamal and Cherki for me right now. I think the one thing that stands out to me with Yamal, and guys, I will get back onto your questions and your comments once I finish saying what I'm saying. And guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. There's 18 of you watching. Smash the like button if you're enjoying the content. Check out all the other content as well. And make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. So the one thing for me that stands out about Rayan Cherki, is that in a game where, it's very heavily dominated by athletes now, I think no one can deny that, I think when you see players like Cherki that are, very technical, they are players that are, they're in the thick of the action in terms of, he's someone that constantly needs to be on the ball, and more times than not, he keeps the ball. The one thing that stands out to me about Cherki is the fact that he's probably one of the first players I've seen in terms of, one of the most talented players I've seen that is so adept at keeping it simple. And I think this is why Pep plays him a lot more. Because there's so many times when the game gets a bit frantic. If you watch Cherki, Cherki just goes and gets the ball. And there's times where he's just playing like little 2-5 yard passes, just trying to slow down the tempo of the game. And the thing with me is that with Cherki is that a player like that, you would think he wants to be direct or be a bit more, as they say, flash at every opportunity. But the fact that he gets the ball and it's like little 2 yard, 5 yard passes, and then he keeps it moving, I think that's one of his biggest strengths, and again, a lot of these things go amiss with players like that, because as I said, if you look at a lot of the talented players, the mercurial players, they tend to not really keep it simple all the time. And someone like Rayan Cherki, for me, the amount of times he just gets the ball, and he just keeps it ticking over. And it's, again, what he's doing is very simple, but playing simple isn't the most common thing in football, you know? And as I said, man, that's one of his biggest strengths for me. Because if we're putting to the side, the fact that he's a pure talent, left foot, right foot, he can destroy a player 1v1. He hasn't got any weaknesses from a technical standpoint in Ryan Cherki, yeah. But the fact that he can get the ball and just, play the little 5 yard passes, and just keep the ball moving, just shows you how intelligent he is. And I think many people probably wouldn't have seen that of a player like him, And I think this is why Pep plays him even more, because he has the ability to slow the game down. And again, there was a game where I can't remember where City were winning the game and the game was going back to forth, yeah. And if you look at Cherki, yeah, Cherki was just in there, and he was getting the ball and he was slowing it down. He was running over to pick the ball up from someone, but the little 5 yard passes takes the sting out the game. And he does that best. He does that as good as any talented player that I've seen. Because as I said, players like Cherki, you wouldn't associate them with doing things like that. I think the one problem Man City might have, but then again, I think Man City are regarded as one of the top teams in the world anyway. But the one problem I think they might have is, and as we know, does Cherki go and play for a Barcelona or a Real Madrid? Yeah, because there's no doubting that Cherki is a Barcelona, Real Madrid type player. I think if you're looking at Barcelona and they've got Yamal, if they wanted to change the formation or if they wanted to play Cherki in a 10, it's a possibility. I mean, imagine seeing Yamal and Cherki in the same team. I mean, you're probably looking at Messi and Neymar all over again. Obviously, I know Cherki's obviously predominantly left-footed, but he can play off his right, and obviously Messi and Neymar was left and right foot anyway. But imagine having Cherki and a Yamal in the same team. Cherki in the 10, Yamal from the right. But obviously they've got Fermin Lopez as well, so it's unlikely that happens. And then you look at Real Madrid, imagine Real Madrid having a Cherki on that right-hand side or in the 10. How good he would make them. So I think that's the one thing with Man City that they need to be aware of, because yeah, listen, I want to put Verts in there, but I think Verts at the moment has dropped off. But Verts is one of my favourite players, and Verts will come good for me, But I think at this moment in time, we have to kind of leave him out the conversation. But even though I don't want to, But as I said, man, I think with Ryan Cherki, I think he's definitely a Barcelona, Real Madrid player. Even PSG, coming from obviously his country that he plays for. Yeah, he can play for any team in the world for me. But what I would say, I don't see him moving on, man, from Man City. I think Man City, if they was to move him on, it's going to be another 100 million plus. And again, if Man City are winning trophies, winning league titles, he probably wouldn't have any reason to leave unless he has a dream of going to play for the Barcelonas or the Real Madrids or back in France at PSG. So I think definitely, man, he's someone for me that needs to be seriously thought of. I know there's massive. I know there's people out there that are massive fans of him. And as I said, man, I think the fact that football is the way it is right now, having a player like Cherki, is a breath of fresh air. And I think the Premier League has these players, but I think more times than not, these players are kind of getting overlooked because the way football's gone right now. But the fact that we've got the likes of Cole Palmer, the Cherkis, the Amads, the Xerxes, the Cunhas, the Grealishes, the Iliman NDIs in this league, is good for me, man. And I definitely do think, this is a player, I'm expecting him to be amongst, in the next couple of years, amongst the top three in the Ballon d'Or voting. I'm expecting it, because I think already you can see he's a key player for Man City already, and it's his first season. Like, he's just come in there, and again, let's not forget, Cherki wasn't Cherki wasn't playing too much, at the start, because obviously Pep was just trying to, feed him into the team, letting him find his way, a bit like what he's doing with Reinders, yeah. But such as Cherki's ability is impacting games, and the fact that, as I said already, he can slow the game down. This is why, as I said, Pep is playing him a lot more, because you can tell Pep trusts him, and this is why it's rare to have a player like Cherki that you can see Pep trusting him already that quickly, because a player of that ability, you're expecting him to be a bit of a luxury player or a bit of a liability in a sense. But he's that talented and he's that intelligent that Pep really is forced to play him. So yeah, man, I'm looking at Cherki, man, as being one of the next big things. And I think, as I said, Yamal, for me, is the best player in the world and will be, and will continue to be that. But I think Cherki will run him close. And I think there's a few other players in there. I know, as I say, a few of you have mentioned Esteval. I think Esteval still needs to do a lot more. Again, he's only 18. But Leonard Carl's another one. But what I want to say as well, you got Jamal Musiala in there as well. And obviously Florian Wirtz, who mentioned. I want to see what Company does when Musiala's back fit. Because does he drop Leonard Carl and put Musiala back in the 10? Because if you think of Musiala as the new number 10 now for Bayern Munich, obviously the departure of Leroy Sané. So Musiala has number 10 on his back now. And Musiala, along with Florian Wirtz, are the golden boys of German football. But Leonard Cole, I think the way it stands right now, I think Leonard Cole could be on his way to the World Cup. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. What does Company do with Cole? Does he say to Cole he's got to come out the team for Musiala? Because there's no doubting, man, that Leonard Cole's got talent, man, and he's made an impact for Bayern Munich. So yeah, there's a problem there with the national team and with Bayern Munich, because if Cole was going to be that good and continues to be that good, you can't keep him down, man. So yeah, man, that's going to be interesting. Guys, I'm going to go through some of your comments and questions. As always, make sure you're smashing the like button and make sure you're subbing to the channel. And let me know what you think. Do you think Rayan Cherki has the potential to be the next big thing, along with the likes of Lamine Yamal, the likes of Elise, the likes of Doué, people want to throw in there, Esteval? Because I think when it comes to Rayan Cherki, I think only Lamine Yamal right now can be argued as being above him, because Cherki's that good, you know what I mean? So yeah, let me know what you think, man. Let me know. So a proper flair player. I just hope Pep doesn't ruin him like Grealish. Despite them being rivals, it hurts to see real ballers being limited by managers. Yeah, big upfits, man. As I said, man, I think that's the problem that people are going to look at. But I think with Cherki, it's a bit different. I think Pep looks at Cherki slightly a bit different to Grealish. Grealish is a top player for me. And the way that Pep kind of changed Grealish's game, it's good to see him at Everton, where David Moyes is giving him the platform, And it's one of them things for me where I look at Cherki and I think the fact that he's someone that can keep it simple, Pep does like that, And as I said, you don't usually get that with players like that, like a Cherki. So I think it's one of them things, man, where I just hope he doesn't change Cherki's game too much. But the fact that he's playing Cherki already, and he's just come to the club this season, it speaks volumes really for how Pep thinks of Cherki. I think there's been some comments that have come out recently as well, where Pep is saying that that Cherki's exceptional, and you can see that Cherki's loved by his teammates as well. You can see the relationship he's got with Foden. You can see the relationship he's got with Erling Haaland, because they know how good this guy is, And as I said, man, I think he's a Ballon d'Or contender waiting, man. As I said, I expect the next couple of seasons, if he continues the path and what he's doing now, him and Yamal could be battling out for that Ballon d'Or title, man. I definitely do think that. So, guys, before I forget, big up to B2. Is it B2 Sports? So yesterday we played against B2 Sports. I think they featured on Baller League. Obviously, KSI's Baller League. I think they featured on there. And we played against them yesterday, five-a-side tournament. And to be honest with you, man, like, they were very good, man. I think this is a team that goes around the country, five-a-side, and just wins all the tournaments. So we played against them yesterday in the tournament. So I think they beat us in the final, man. And they beat us comprehensively. I think they beat us 5-0. But we played against them 3 times because it's meant to be 5 teams turning up. But I think a few teams didn't turn up. So we ended up playing a 3-team tournament, but playing every team twice. The first game we played against them, I think they beat us 1-0. Second game, well, 1-0 from a free kick, you know. And the second game, I think it was 3-0. And in the final, I think they beat us 5-0. So it's mad because you think these kind of teams play against, they play against teams all over the world. I think they've played against SC Dons, Five Guys as well. And again, these teams have been playing together for a while. And obviously our team, you know, our team, No Defense, you know, it's a lot of players that have just come together quite recently, from the team we've had before. But do you know what? We gave a decent account of ourselves, definitely in the first game. And to get beat by a free kick was mad. But then I think the second game and the final against them, they comprehensively beat us, man. And you know what it is? It's testament to what we done, really, because we had no sub, you know, playing against a team that goes around the country and just beating up everyone. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, they're a very good team, man. But yeah, big up to B2R Sports. If you guys get a chance, man, go over them and follow them. They got a huge following. As I said, they've appeared on Ballers League before. And against the likes of SE Dons, as I said, and Five Guys. So yeah, you guys probably have heard of them anyway. So let's go through the chat, guys. Make sure you're smashing the likes, and make sure you're subbing to the channel, and share the channel as well. We got 18 of you in there. Give me your questions and comments, guys. I wanted Cherki at United. Not gonna lie. Yeah, listen. I think there's no secret, man, that Man United were looking at him. And the fact that Man United couldn't get that over the line of 34 million is a disgrace for me. It's an absolute disgrace, I have to say. I mean, people might think I'm mad by saying this, yeah? But I don't think so, yeah? If you look at the fact that this system that I can't stand, of the 3-4-2-1, if you look at the fact that Amarim's hell-bent on playing this system, yeah? And then you've got a Cherki available before he went to Man City. Ask yourself this question, yeah? Why would Ruben Amorim go for Brian Mbeumo rather than Cherki? These are the things that don't make sense to me. Again, I can't stand this system, yeah? But Rayan Cherki's a 10. And if you want to play this system, the right 10, Cherki fits into that seamlessly. So the fact that he went for Mbeumo, he only went for Mbeumo because Mbeumo scores goals for Brentford. But you're playing Mbeumo as a right 10 when he's a wide forward. And this is what I'm trying to say to you, yeah? This whole thing about this system with Amorim, it doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense whatsoever, you know? And as I said, Man United were in talks with Cherki. And to think that they've allowed Cherki to go, you know, across town to Man City for 34 mil. And then we've spent, what, 60 million on Mbeumo, who doesn't fit the system. But people only talk about him because he gets goals. Just shows you that the thinking wasn't there. It doesn't make any sense. Again, if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, you know, or a 4-3-3, the Mbeumo one makes sense. But we knew Amorim was playing this system. And you mean to tell me he didn't go for a Cherki who's a creator, but he chose goals? Doesn't make sense. You know, you can choose goals all you want, but you're not playing the player in their right position. And again, it's not Mbeumo's fault, because you watch Mbeumo right now, Mbeumo's playing as a right 10. And then Amorim has the cheek to play him as a 9 when he changed the formation against Bournemouth. Yeah. And the thing is with the number 10 position and the wide forward position, yeah, if you look at Mbeumo's a player that is used to playing from out to in. So as a wide forward, you start wide and come in field, which is why he gets many goals, yeah? So to play him as a 10, where it's congested, and Mbeumo's not a passer like that. You know, he's not a close control player like that. So playing him in field where there's traffic doesn't make sense. And this is one of the issues that I have with the manager, because you don't play a wide forward in a 10 position, and people might just ignore it because he's scored a couple of goals. But you can clearly see now that Mbeumo's struggling. His performances haven't been good, and that's not on that's not on Mbeumo, because he's a wide forward being played in a right 10 position. And this is what I'm trying to tell you about this manager. This manager just doesn't know what he's doing, man. It's crazy. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. Big up yourself for coming on. Thoughts on Semenyo? Semenyo's a good player, but I don't want him at Manchester United. I don't. And if you're looking at Semenyo playing at Man United, the only position he can play in the system with his attributes is as a wingback. But why would you want to go and sign Semenyo to play in wingback? That shouldn't be happening. So, again, good player, but not a player for Manchester United for me. Man United need to be signing players of real quality. These are the kind of players that I want to see at the club, and I don't want to see Manchester United, signing players that are more athletes rather than technicians, because we've been making that mistake for far too long. So, but as I said, I like Semenyo. I think he's a good player, but he's not a Man United player. He's not. So, who would you play in the United 11 with Semenyo and Anderson? Who would you play in the United 11 with Semenyo and Anderson? Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't buy Semenyo for me, and Anderson wouldn't be the first choice for me. If you could get, I think Baleba needs to be the first choice. I've mentioned so many times why. And then if you can get an Anderson or a Walton, but Kobe has to be in there as well. I'd prefer to see a Baleba. If you're going to play a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, I would love to see a Baleba, Kobe, and a Ahmad free. Ahmad in the 10, Kobe and Baleba. Or if you're going to play a 4-3-3, a Baleba, Anderson, Mainu, or a Baleba, Walton, Mainu, however you want to do it. But I wouldn't sign Semenyo. I wouldn't sign Semenyo. There's no need to sign Semenyo, because Semenyo, where he plays, he's a winger, and you change the formation to a 4-2-3-1. You've got Mbeumo and Cunha that can occupy those positions, or an Ahmad if you want. So I wouldn't sign Semenyo. United should sell Mainu and sign Richard Rios. No, we shouldn't. The thing is with this debate about Kobe Mainu, this is a player, that's an England international that played for England in the Euros final. He was meant to be the next up and coming Manchester United Academy product, and people now are changing their mind on Kobe Mainu because of this manager. And again, you have to ask yourself, is this manager doing best by the club and by the academy? He's not. He's calling the academy out, which is a disgrace. And now you've got people saying we should sell Kobe Mainu for Richard Rios. And again, Richard Rios is a good player, but the philosophy of Manchester United is to be producing the academy players and putting them into the first team. So people saying now that Rios needs to be signed and Kobe needs to go, I don't blame you for saying that, because you're only saying that really because of how Kobe's being treated by this manager. Because last season, no one was saying that. And this is why this manager needs to go, because there's no way that Kobe can be removed for Ruben Amorim, and again, do I believe Kobe goes? I don't. I think the worst that happens to Kobe in January is that he goes on loan. But even that, Kobe shouldn't be going on loan for Amorim to be happy. That shouldn't happen, So again, I'm just praying Ineos come to their senses and just remove this manager. And then Kobe, and then their system changes. Kobe goes back into the team, and then we keep it moving. That's it. But the fact that we've got Kobe out of the team, probably low on confidence as well. Fans now questioning if Kobe should still be here. That's purely on Ruben Amorim and this system. So yeah, man, it's ridiculous. Yeah, big up, man. Big up to all the mods. Do you watch Filthy Fellas podcasts? Do you know what? I know Filthy Fellas. I don't really watch it, but I've heard of them. Yeah, I've definitely heard of Filthy Fellas. I haven't really watched any of their content, to be honest with you. I only watch a handful of people on YouTube, to be honest, man. Yeah, I only watch a handful of people. Like I can probably count. I probably watch probably about four channels on it, 3 or 4 channels. But yeah, no, I've definitely heard of Filthy Fellas. Yeah, Bruno is one of the best playmakers in the world. Oh, good. Just when I thought we were getting somewhere, man. Listen, I'm not gonna waste too much time on this Bruno Fernandes guy, yeah. But what people need to realize with Bruno Fernandes, yeah, he's someone, yeah, that he's rated because of numbers. He's rated because of numbers. It's as simple as that, yeah. No one can tell me that this is a top footballer because he's not. He's been given everything possible to succeed at Manchester United to the detriment of better players. That's the truth, yeah. Now, when I'm hearing he's one of the best playmakers in the world, I don't think people understand what a playmaker is. Like it's long balls consistently doesn't mean you're a playmaker. Yeah, long balls isn't a playmaker. So being a playmaker, I'll give you some players that are playmakers, and then you can decide for yourself if you think Bruno is in that class. Zidane, Ronaldinho, Iniesta, Andrea Pirlo, Juan Roman Riquelme, Pablo Aimar, Francesco Totti, Alessandro Del Piero. Trying to think now. Rui Costa. Xavi. Paul Scholes. There's a few more I'm forgetting. Yeah. But if you get my gist, yeah, guys, these are real playmakers. Bruno Fernandes is not a playmaker. Like Bruno Fernandes, yeah, is a stats orientated player. That is all he is. He's a stats orientated player. You know, and what you have to think as well, yeah, is that you put Bruno in a different team where where he has to, you know, play as part of a team, not doing everything not doing everything and doing what he wants. You will see very clearly, yeah, how out of his depth that he is. People might say if he plays for a better team, he's even better. Yeah, that's a load of nonsense because I'll give you an example. Yeah, if he was playing for Manchester City, for argument's sake, yeah, there's no way Pep Guardiola would allow Bruno Fernandes to do what he's doing at Manchester United. The reason Bruno gets a lot of numbers is because he's on everything in terms of set pieces, in terms of, you know, the team are always giving him the ball. Yeah. So when people think he's a playmaker and they think he's this, they think he's that, ask yourself this question: what have Man United done since he's become integral to the team? That's the answer. Since he's become captain, since he's become integral to the team, Man United have recorded their lowest ever finishes with this guy as captain. But people want to keep making his name relevant because of numbers. And that should just tell you that that's not a top player. I always use the comparison, yeah? If I was to ask anyone in this chat right now, Andres Iniesta and Zinedine Zidane, if I was to ask anyone right now, are those two players world class? I think everyone in the chat will say yes. And why would they say yes? Nothing to do with numbers, yeah? Because if everyone knows that these two guys, Iniesta and Zinedine Zidane, they averaged like 6 goals a season. That's the truth. Bruno Fernandes gets better numbers than both of them. But there's no one on this channel that would tell me right now, or that would actually agree, that Bruno Fernandes is better than Zidane or Andres Iniesta. And again, this is where football's gone, because people don't care about performances or care about ability. They just care about, the stat sheet. How football's become a stat sheet game is ridiculous. But you can kind of see that in how football is now, because the Premier League football is terrible. You know, the fact that this game has resulted now to long ball and to throw-ins is a crime. But it's not a surprise, because when you're getting, the game that's being dominated by fans that just more interested in stats, they start coming out with things like Bruno's the best playmaker in the world, which is nonsense. Because if you understand what a playmaker is, you don't make that comparison. And I think it's good to know what Bruno is. Bruno's a guy that will always get stats at Manchester United, because as I keep saying, he's on more or less every set piece, yeah, and he's always he plays 90 minutes more or less every game, and he's always tasked with, for some reason he's been made the go-to guy, and this is why Cunha's struggling, yeah, because if you take a Cunha from Wolves, who was the main guy, the number 10, and you bring him to a Manchester United, you have to provide the platform for Cunha to succeed. The fact that Cunha's come in there and he's been moved everywhere, he's playing in the 9 1 minute, then in the left 10, he can't get any kind of continuity to his game. Not to mention, he's got a guy in Bruno Fernandes that wants to hog the ball when that should really be him. This is part of the problem, So, again, people can have their opinions on Bruno Fernandes, but the facts are, since he's become captain, Man United have recorded their lowest ever finishes. And as I said, man, I'd much rather him playing as a midfielder, him putting in top performances, rather than masking it over with numbers, because numbers don't really get you nowhere in the end, especially for Manchester United, the way they've been playing. So, again, man, people need to look at that. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Guys, come on, there's 16 of you in there. Smash the like button and sub to the channel. Let's at least hit 10 likes as a minimum. Yeah, Laser Dino, you must be a troll, man. Sell Minu, Ugarte, Dallo, Shaw, and Cunha. Mino and Cunha shouldn't be in that list, but Ugarte, Dallo, and Shaw, fair enough, man. But yeah, the whole Cunha one, that makes sense. And Kobe Mino as well. Yeah, he's a troll, man. He's a troll. Yeah, McTominay. Godwill Kukonki should be playing in the Manchester United first team. He is 6'5". So what? So what? Is this where we're going now? So because he's 6'5", he should be in the first team. Is that what you're really telling me? Come on, man. Let's do better than that. Because he's 6'5", he should be in the first team. The game's called football, man. What are we doing? You know what? Yeah, some people, when they come out with some comments, man, it's like, are you actually telling me a player should be in the first team because he's 6'5"? How about, can he play football? You know what I mean? Madness. Yeah, big up, man. Cherki is a quality player, and the fact City got him for 30 million is a steal. Yeah, listen, I don't think you're ever going to see, again, a player of that quality being bought for that little money. Because to be bought for 34 million, a player of that level is unheard of, And again, he's on his way, man, Rayan Cherki, to being one of the best players in the world. Definitely. In terms of ability, he's up there. But again, he's someone that needs to do it consistently over the next couple of seasons. And as I said, I'm looking at him and Yamal, man, to be the front runners for the new generation. Yeah, Bruno's not a 10. Like, this conversation just is frustrating because Bruno Fernandes has never been a number 10. People need to realize that. There's a difference between being a number 10 and playing in the number 10. Yeah? He can play in the 10, but that doesn't mean he's a number 10. He's a number 8. And we need to realize that. He's a number 8 in a 4-3-3. So the fact that he's been shoehorned into this system anyway, in this team, in a 2 in midfield, is the problem. Because really and truly, he should have been moved on. Because he can't play as a 2 in the midfield, and he can't play in the 10 in this system either. And as I said, I've mentioned many times why he can't play in the 10 in this system. He can play in the 10 if it's a 4-2-3-1. But again, just because you can play a position doesn't mean you are that. It's that simple. Pep Guardiola should go back to Barcelona and replace Hansi Flick. You know what? I ain't gonna lie, yeah. I would like to see Pep back at Barca, but I think that ship sailed, man. I think with Pep, in actual fact, yeah, I'd like to see Pep manage Spain. I think after Man City, I think that should be his next target, man, managing Spain, and see what he can do from there. Bruno Fernandes is wanted by Bayern Munich. That's a lie. I'll tell you why that's a lie, yeah? Because they've got Musiala and Leonard Cole. Why would you go and sign a 31-year-old, yeah, that isn't a 10 in the first place? And why would they invest in Bruno Fernandes when there's no resale value? So again, that's just made up. You know what I mean? Why would they go and sign Bruno Fernandes when they've got a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old who are the future of German football, to go and bring in a 31-year-old that is on the decline? So that's a lie. You know what I mean? Nusa is good, yeah. Nusa is good. Antonio Nusa at Leipzig. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, big up, man. 100%. Sell Bruno. Go 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Ahmad as a 10, Cunha left. I've been shouting this out for time, man. That's what needs to happen, no doubt. That is 100% what needs to happen. Gav, did you hear about Macclesfield? Ethan McLeod has died in a car accident on the M1 motorway on Tuesday. He was returning from his team's National League North match at Bedford Town. So very sad. Yeah, I think I see something about that. Yeah, I think he was only 21 as well. So, yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, madness, isn't it? Gav, do you think we should go for Semenyo if getting him means we still can get midfielders in the summer? I think I've more or less answered this already. Yeah, I don't think we should go for Semenyo. Semenyo's not a Man United type player. And again, you change this formation, there's not really any need to go and get a Semenyo because you've got players that can play there. So the likes of Cunha and Mbuemo, and even Ahmad if you wanted to as well, where Semenyo would play. So yeah, the midfield definitely has to be targeted this summer. But yeah, Semenyo shouldn't be a player that Man United target for me, because you have to think of it like this, yeah. And I'm looking past this manager. If you go and sign a Semenyo and you've got Cunha and you've got Mbuemo, Semenyo's not going to come here to sit on the bench. So what will be the point of signing Semenyo? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it don't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to go and do that. Thoughts on the Bruno comments? Yeah, I spoke about it yesterday already, man. So if you go and watch my stream from yesterday, I spoke on a little bit on the Kobe one, and I spoke on Bruno Fernandes. So yeah, go and watch that. If you watch it from yesterday, man, you'll see my reaction to that yesterday. So yeah, big up. Yeah, listen, Ahmad is underrated. He is as a ball carrier, and this is why I think the fact that Ahmad, Mbuemo, and Mazraoui have now gone to AFCON, it's going to be a massive problem for Man United. And as I said already, this system is a joke under Amorim, because the fact that Amorim changed this system against Bournemouth, it now shows that he's starting to doubt himself, because even though I can't stand this 3-4-2-1, I would have had more respect for Amorim if he would have just kept this system, if he would have kept the system and just rode it off to the wheels and rode it to the wheels fall off until he got sacked. But the fact that he changed his system against Bournemouth, he's made himself look stupid there. And the funny thing is now, because that right hand side now is going to be non-existent. I mentioned this already. If he wanted to keep the whole left-footed players on the right hand side, realistically, he should be playing Dorgu and Shea Lacey out there. If he wants to stay true to his word. But we all know he's not going to do that. So, you know what I mean? I'm interested to see what his lineup's going to be for Aston Villa, because you're playing against a team that have won 9 games straight in a row. You've lost your right hand side, so you're now forced to make important decisions. And whatever he does, he's going to be called into question, because if he changes the formation, he'll lose respect, maybe from his loyal fan base that think he should still be here, because you wanted to play this 3-4-2-1 formation because you thought you were smart. And now you've lost players. There's talk about you changing the formation, which you're going to make yourself look stupid, really. So I can't wait for this game, because I want to see how he goes. Because as we know, the Kobe comments the Kobe free Kobe t-shirt, that has the news that's been dominating at the moment. If he drops, because Kobe should really be playing, because Casemiro is suspended. Kobe come on and played well. And again, let's not forget, this is the same manager that told us that Kobe is competing with Bruno Fernandes for a starting place. Now, if he plays Kobe next to Bruno, he's made himself look stupid yet again, contradicted himself. So really and truly, if Kobe plays, he's made himself look stupid. If Kobe doesn't play, that means he's taking it personally from his brother wearing the t-shirt. So again, Ruben Amorim, through his own doing, has made himself, look stupid. Really, let's be honest, because there's certain decisions that he's going to have to make where people are going to be looking at him thinking this guy's falling apart, and it's his own doing. And it was always going to come to this. It was always going to come to this. He knew full well, that he would be losing that right hand side of Mbuemo, Ahmad, and Mazraoui. So again, when you've got the likes of Kobe and his brother's done the t-shirt, basically calling out Amorim in a sense, these things were always going to happen. And now the problem with Ruben Amorim is that the players that he hasn't been playing, and I put Xerxes in there as well. Look at how he's treating Joshua Xerxes. Joshua Xerxes was playing because Sesko was injured and Cunha was out injured. And then the 2 games that Xerxes played, he got a goal and had 2 good performances. And what's his reward? Cunha comes back, he's on the bench. Sesko comes back, he comes on the pitch before him against Bournemouth. And that just shows you the lack of man management and the lack of empathy, in a sense, for players that this manager hasn't got, you know. And then now, because you're missing players, he's now going to have to rely on Kobe Manu, who's not really got the game time. The same with Xerxes, you know. He's now taking the piss and taking off Lenny Yoro. I mean, his decision that night against Bournemouth, yeah, to take off Lenny Yoro the pitch rather than having a right-footed one is an absolute disgrace. You got Aiden Heaven, who's been playing left side of a free, playing as a centre back, yeah. And then you got Lissandro, who is not match fit. And let's face it, Lissandro for me is not good enough really to play at Man United in comparison to where Man United need to be going, because there's other players there that can do his job and that are better. And he had the cheek to take off Lenny Yoro, who's the only right-footed centre-back, and play Aiden Heaven and Lissandro as two left-footed centre-backs. Like, it's laughable because this manager just doesn't know what he's doing, man. So, yeah, it's just funny, man. But this is the manager for you, you know? Yeah, big up, big up. Nicky Butt was spot on. If it's true, if Kobe was playing for not even Chelsea, yeah. If Kobe was playing for a, let's say, a Nottingham Forest, yeah, like what's happening with Elliot Anderson, then he'll be a player that Man United or the Chelseas and that would try and sign for 70 to 80 million. They would. And the fact that we've got a player there that isn't playing because of how the manager sees football just shows you why he can't be manager no longer. And as I said, the fact that Ineos are taking this long with this manager is criminal, man. Yeah, big up, my guy Fitz, man. No worries. No worries, my guy. Guys, I'm just going through some of your comments now, so I'm just seeing it. Big up to Lumi. Big up. Yeah, sorry, yeah. Dennis Bergkamp's another one. Forgot. Mount should be there on quality. Oh, my God, man. Madness. Yeah, listen, Bruno's just not the guy, man. Like, just, he's not, man. I mean, let's face it, his free kick the other night was a very good free kick, but yeah, Bruno's not that guy, man, that people think he is. He's not, man. But you can give praise when praise is due. And his free kick, to be fair, I don't think there was anyone saving that. It was a very good free kick. But let's not let that overshadow his performance, because his performance was poor. And again, he was arguably he was the reason why Bournemouth got the goal from the free kick. He lost the ball, which made Casemiro had to chase back, and he was chasing back as well. Casemiro had to make the foul, and then the free kick was scored from there. But that's Bruno giving the ball away. So again, when Bruno gets a stat, yeah, just know during the game he's done something which has caused the team to be under pressure. And this is Bruno Fernandes for you. Gav, who was better, Veron back in the day or Mount now? Do you know what? Are you actually asking me that question? Are you actually trying to compare Mason Mount to Juan Sebastian Veron? Lumi, listen, you know your football, yeah? But I can't believe you've actually asked me that question. And you know what? I'm not even going to go back onto it because you're just trolling me now. Come on. Yeah, listen, I like Nusa. I think Nusa's good. But again, he's another one that needs to do it a bit more consistently. Shouldn't Man United be going for Morgan Rogers, and shouldn't he be starting ahead of Eze for England? Again, Morgan Rogers is a top player, man. But you're not going to get Morgan Rogers out of Aston Villa. He's just signed a new contract as well. So the best time to get Rogers out of Aston Villa. So I know Chelsea were looking at him, but again, they decided to go for other players because they're probably priced out of the move for Rogers. But as I said plenty of times already, yeah, that number 10 position for England is between Morgan Rogers, Cole Palmer, and I want to say Eze, but I think Tuchel's going to play Eze from the left, you know. But as it stands right now, Morgan Rogers is the number one for me right now. And again, if some of you didn't know already, yeah, Thomas Tuchel actually rated Cole Palmer as the second best player in the world from the Ballon d'Or voting recently. He picked Harry Kane number one, and then he picked Cole Palmer as number two. And again, if you've got the England manager picking Cole Palmer as number two to be voted as the best player in the world, yeah, that just shows you how highly he thinks of him, yeah. And I'll be very surprised if, again, injury and form aside, I'll be very surprised if Cole Palmer's not starting for England. Now, if Cole Palmer starts for England, you'd have to believe it's probably going to be in the number 10 position, because as much as I don't rate Saka as highly as a lot of other fans, I think Saka does start for England. But I think Cole Palmer starts, and I think Cole Palmer will probably start in the 10, which means Morgan Rogers, you know what I mean, he might be on the bench. Who knows? But yeah, listen, man. Eze should be playing the 10, but I think he play Eze from the left. But again, when this World Cup announcement, the squad announcement comes through, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I'll definitely be doing a reaction to it because there's a lot of players, yeah, that are going to be missing. And there will be some surprise names that you might think of. Because I'm thinking if Eze does go, and I think he will go, you've now got Eze, Rashford, and Anthony Gordon. One of them misses out because they're all three players that are playing from the left-hand side. And I think if you look at the way that Thomas Tuchel likes to play with his wide players, he likes pace out there. And Anthony Gordon and Rashford have been a constant with Thomas Tuchel. But if he takes Eze, and we believe Eze is going to play on the left-hand side, I don't believe he takes three players that play on the left. So someone could miss out. So, again, man, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Lacey and Manu should get starts now. The manager has no excuses. If not, it'll be damning on the manager. Yeah, Manu, for me, I think will get game time. I don't know if he starts against Villa, by the way. Because, again, this manager's that petty. He might look at the thing with his brother and think, right, that's a reason for me to not play you. Shea Lacey's not going to play, though. But, like, the manager's under pressure. So, I don't think he's going to throw in a youngster when he's under pressure. This is what I've been saying from time. He's in survival mode. So, I can't see Shea Lacey getting game time. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. When we went four at the back, he shouldn't have put Euro as a right back. Yeah, big up, man. This is something that I talked about during the game, yeah? This manager, yeah, has to be the most deluded manager I've seen, yeah? And the most stubborn manager as well, yeah? To think that he went four at the back, yeah? He's playing, yeah, centre-backs at right back, left-backs at centre-back. Who does that? Like, Lenny Yoro's a centre-back, having to play right side of a free because of this manager. But to think that Lenny Yoro was playing right back, yeah, and then you had, I think at a point, Luke Shaw was playing centre-back. Like, who does that? You know what I mean? Ridiculous, man. Gav, you should check the recent podcast with Scholes, Bart, and Cole. Really good listen. Yeah, big up, my guy, man. I'm gonna give that a check for sure, man. 100%. Is that on? I know Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt do I think they do like a little podcast now with Paddy. Is it not Paddy Creran? Paddy McGuinness. So I think it might be on that. But yeah, no, I'll give that a watch because I can guarantee you this now. they're questioning Ruben Amorim in terms of how he's talking about the youth. Guarantee you. Do you think Foden makes it to the World Cup at a decent form this season, to be fair? Do you know what? At the start, yeah, I said Foden, I can't see Foden going to the World Cup. And the fact that Tuchel sees him as a false nine, I think it was even more the reason to say that not only will Foden not start, but it might be a bit of a push to get him in the squad. I think how Foden's been doing so far this season, yeah, I think as it stands, he's a certainty on the plane, which I didn't see, I have to be honest. But as I said, there's so many attacking midfielders that Tuchel has to choose from. There's going to be a lot of players that people might be thinking will go that won't be going. Because if you think, yeah, from the attacking positions, who he's got to pick from, yeah, you've got, on the left-hand side, you've got Rashford, Gordon, Eze, yeah? Not to mention, and again, these guys for me won't go. You've also got the likes of Sancho, Callum Hudson-Odoi as well, if you want to throw them in. Sancho for me should if Sancho was playing regularly, etc., I'd have Sancho in that squad all day long, but I don't think he's going to go. But you got Sancho, Hudson-Odoi, that are outside bets, and then you got Gordon, Rashford, and Eze, who he plays out there, that might be the front runners. Yeah, the right-hand side, you're choosing from Saka, Palmer, Madueke, Jared Bowen. Is there someone else out there? I think that's them, yeah. And then if you look at the central attacking players, yeah, you've got Palmer again, who can play there. Morgan Rogers, Gibbs White. Again, Jack Grealish on the left-hand side, you can pick as well, who I'd have in the squad, no doubt. Obviously, if you want to put Bellingham in there as well. I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, he's not going to go, but, Keane and Dewsbury Hall's worth a mention as well. So you think of all those players, and Amorim and Tuchel has to choose from all those players. So again, all them players are not going to go. So there's going to be a lot of players that are going to miss this tournament. So I can't wait till it gets... Oh, Foden, again, another one. So I can't wait to see, man, what actually happens with this selection. But as I said, Foden right now is on the plane. But again, it could all change, man, because his form might drop. He might get injured. Who knows? I've seen some United fans calling Shea Lacey the Irish Messi. His ceiling is high. Yeah, listen, but were these fans drinking? Because, again, a lot of these fans think Bruno Fernandes, is the best playmaker in the world. They thought Garnacho was the guy, Rasmus Højlund as well. So the fact that they're saying that Shea Lacey is the Irish Messi, like, I'll take that with a pinch of salt, man, to be honest with you. Shea Lacey's definitely got talent, no doubt. But when I'm hearing fans say that, I don't know, man. I think we have to just remain cautious and let him grow in his own right. Bro, we can try Dorgo in the right. If as I said, if Ruben Amorim wants to stick to this shit system, really and truly, from what's available now, he has to play Patrick Dorgo and Shea Lacey because they're both left-footed. But we know he's not going to do that. You know what I mean? Listen, I'll take Kobe to the World Cup, of course. But again, if we're being honest, yeah, Kobe at this moment in time is not going to the World Cup because he's not playing. And you've got players in Declan Rice who's definitely starting. And Elliot Anderson's probably going to be his partner. Not to mention you've got Adam Walton, who's probably next in line, and other players. And this is what I'm trying to say to you. This is what Ruben Amorim has done with Kobe Manu. He's made Kobe Manu now not be in the England squad because he's not playing in regularly for Manchester United. This is Ruben Amorim for you. You know what I mean? But if Kobe starts getting regular game time and playing, there's no reason why Kobe shouldn't be on the plane. No doubt. Because, you know what I mean? I think he's definitely one of England's best players if he's playing week in, week out. He is. He's proven that. So, but as it stands right now, He's not on that plane. So this is why he wants to get out in January and get game time. And you can't blame him. Ineos don't have the guts to sack Amorim. But this is part of the problem. It's part of the problem. I mean, this is why when Ineos first came in and the signings they were making, I was thinking, I think the Ugarte one's a joke. But other than that, you think, fair enough. But the fact that Amorim's still here, you know, I'm past thinking like what they're thinking. Because, as I said, man, it's just an absolute joke that he is still here. But yeah, there's no point getting fed up, man, because it's just we're just going around in circles. As I said, our next two games are Aston Villa and Newcastle, and I believe they might both be away games as well. I know definitely that Aston Villa's away. I think the Newcastle might be away, but I'm telling you now, with what Man United have at their disposal right now, they're in trouble. They're definitely in trouble. So yeah, man, it's one of them things. We have to just wait and see what happens. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. We've got 19 of you in there at the moment and 11 likes. So, again, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. And make sure you share the channel as well. And, guys, make sure you become a member on the channel as well. Again, once you become a member, your comments and questions will be priority. You know, so, as I said, I'm not going to read out everyone's comments and questions. But, you know, once you become a member and you're supporting the channel, then you have priority over others in terms of your questions and comments. We're going to wrap it up, guys, in about 5 minutes. Did anyone get to see Cherki's goal yesterday? You know, left and right foot, man. This guy's ridiculous. Who was the best winger in Man United history? You have to say Ryan Giggs. Because, again, Ronaldo was a winger when he first came, but then became a wide forward. Nani was a winger, to be fair. Yeah. But again, Man United don't really have many wingers. Like, I think Giggs was the only real. I mean, Jesper Blomqvist, he was a winger. Beckham wasn't a winger. Beckham was a right midfielder in the 4-4-2 era. So the only wingers really are, and Giggs has to stand out. You know. Yeah, Beckham was on white. But Beckham's in the mold of a Kevin De Bruyne. You know, they're players that, because obviously Kevin De Bruyne started his career out wide anyway. And yeah, Kevin De Bruyne is like a Beckham for me. You know, he's more of a wide man come midfielder. You know, because if you look at De Bruyne in his prime, he used to occupy a lot of the positions that Beckham took up. You know, that inside right channel, putting the ball across the box. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, man. As I said, it's one of them things where Man United don't really have. Man United didn't really have too many wingers as such. Giggs, Blomqvist, Nani. I mean, Antonio Valencia, you could class as one as well. They're the only real wingers that they've had, to my knowledge, you know. As I said. Guys, come on, there's 24 of you, man. Smash the like button, sub to the channel. Big up. Yeah, Valencia until we turned him right back after the injury. Right, guys, we're going to wrap it up in about a couple of minutes. As I said, I'm only going to read out the questions and comments that stand out. I say I'm not going to go through everyone's questions and comments. So, again, if you want your question or comment read out, then, as I say, make sure you become a member on the channel and show your support. As I said, I'm live more or less every day. You know, different content, as I said. So check out the playlist as well, guys. There's different playlists, you know, that you guys might find interesting. So yeah, big up. When the Man United playing? Man United playing on Saturday or Sunday? I might do a watch along for that game. I'm not sure yet. Might be out. Yeah, big up, my guy, man. Big up. Good show, bro. Yeah, big up. Oh, Sunday, yeah? Okay. Sunday. Yeah, Sunday might be a difficult one. Yeah, I'll see. Guys, as well, man, if anyone wanted to jump on camera, you know, and have a discussion about football with myself, just let me know, man. Let me know in the comments, you know. And we can obviously hook that up. As I said, I've got a couple of different guests gonna come on from next week, hopefully. So I'm gonna try and sort that out. But yeah. Yeah, big up to Football Reactions FC, man. As I said, I spoke to you, man, on a private one. So yeah, you know. Yeah, listen, Cherki's a top player, man. He is. As I said, man, he's a player of his level, man, and how calm he is and how, like, simple he makes the game look is crazy, man. Fulham and Forest on Monday. Fulham at home as well. Right, guys, we're going to wrap it up anyway. But big up yourselves for coming through. As I said, make sure you smash the like button if you're in there. Make sure you smash it on the way out. Last question before we wrap it up. So, Gav, how long until Cherki is going to be in the shout for Ballon d'Or? For me, I mean, he's got a good shout for this season. Imagine if Man City win the league, go far in the Champions League. Obviously, you've got the World Cup coming up as well, and I expect him to be in the squad. Again, he could be in the Ballon d'Or, the next Ballon d'Or that comes about. He could be in there because the way he's performing right now, and again, City, you know, they're second in the league, obviously. Champions League, they should get to the next round as well, and the World Cup coming up. A lot of it's going to have a factor in the World Cup, you know, because, you know, as we know how the Ballon d'Or works now, you know, if you have a strong World Cup, you know, and if you're domestically, if you win the Champions League, and obviously numbers does play a factor into it, you're going to be someone that is going to be considered, you know. So I'm going to say, just based on that, he could be in the Ballon d'Or voting quicker than we think, you know. But I expect him, the way he's going, over the next couple of seasons, he'll be in that list. No doubt. I have no doubts he'll be in there. Because if I'm looking around world football right now, yeah, the players that I rate as world-class players, yeah, there ain't too many. And as I said, I can go through the teams, yeah. If we start off at Barcelona, the world-class players for me are Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Lamine Yamal. They're 3 certified world-class players for me. There's a few others that are just under that, or a few players that have declined from that. And then if I look at Real Madrid, you got obviously Courtois in goal. I think Rudiger is there. Camavinga, when he's fit, is there. Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe for me, yeah. Then if we go to Italy, I don't think Italy have anyone that's world class. PSG, I've got Vitinha. They've got Dembele. Nuno Mendes, Hakimi. And Kvaratskhelia I'll put in there as well. And then if you go to Germany, Harry Kane, Michael Olise. I think they're the only 2 really. And then you go to England. And England, for me, have only got really Moises Caicedo, Reece James, Cole Palmer, Rodri when he's fit, Erling Haaland, obviously, for goals. And then I would say Cherki, yeah. I would say Cherki. Liverpool, I think Van Dijk's dropped off. So, I mean, you could say Van Dijk and Alisson. You could say them. Salah's not there for me no more. And even though he was there like Haaland with goals. Gravenberch is just under it for me. Yeah. And as I said, that's it. So they're the real world-class players for me. So I don't see any reason why Cherki can't be in there, if I'm honest. You know? I don't see any reason. And then obviously Arsenal got Gabriel as well, Saliba, you would say. But again, as we know, attackers really are going to win it. So, you know, it's one of them things. But would there be anyone from your Chelsea you would take for United? The players that I've mentioned, but you're not going to get them. So, yeah. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Wesley Fofana as well. You know, when Fofana was at Leicester, I said United have to go and sign him. You know what I mean? Fofana's a top player. And again, his thing is very much like, I know Reece James has stayed fit, but he's very much like a Camavinga. If them guys stay fit, you know, they're amongst the best, them two. You know what I mean? And again, France's squad, man, if they get their squad right, they're going to be a massive problem in this World Cup. But yeah, the players that I would take at Man United, of course, would be Reece James, Caicedo, Cole Palmer, and Wesley Fofana. But you're not getting it. You're not getting any of them. So yeah, it's pointless even thinking about it. Yeah, but guys, listen up. Big up yourselves for coming on. As I said, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel as well. And check out all my other content on there as well. As I said, I should be back. What's tomorrow? Friday. I should be back tomorrow. Might do the potential lineup for Manchester United against Aston Villa on Sunday. So as I said, yeah, should be back tomorrow. But if not, then as I said, man, just make sure you check the notifications to see when I go live. But yeah, big up yourselves for coming through, man. As I said, on your way out, make sure you smash the like button as well, guys, on your way out. And again, if you guys got any comments, you know, about the stream in terms of what we spoke about, then yeah, feel free to put your comments in there as well. And as I said, big up to all the mods as usual. And big up to all the newcomers coming through. And as I said, if you guys want to have your questions or comments read out, then make sure you show support to the channel and become a member. And as I said, you know, I'm looking to do another sports Q&A as well for members only. We're going to try and do it as well. So once I get a certain amount of members, you know, I'll probably do a members only one. But yeah, 100% will definitely be trying to hook that up again. So as I said, if you want your questions or comments read out as a priority, then make sure you guys support the channel and become a member. But other than that, guys, big up yourselves. Have a good weekend if I don't speak to you guys. And as I said, man, weekend football coming up. As as I said, man, it's going to be interesting because this league table is mad. And it's a lot of teams, man. I think I see the other day, yeah. I think from 5th place all the way down to 15th, I think there's something like 6 or 7 points in it, which is crazy. Because if 15 puts together two wins in a row, like they're shooting up the table. So that's how tight this table is, man. I said it the other day. I think it's something like 7 points or something like that. Between 5th and 15th or something mad. I think Fulham might be... I think Fulham are on 20 points, yeah? And I think they might be around that, 14th or 15th. And if you think of Fulham on 20 points, and the team that is... I think Chelsea are 4th. I believe Chelsea are on 26 or 27 points, I think. So again, man, there's not much in it, man. And there's a long way to go. So, yeah, man, we're looking forward to the weekend football. But as I said, guys, smash the like button, sub to the channel, share the channel, and I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.